what would happen if you could travel back in time and change the course of your life? But time travel is not as simple as it appears in movies. It's a labyrinth of complexities and paradoxes that could make your head spin faster than a time machine's flux capacitor. What if you could meet your younger self? Or what if you accidentally prevented your own birth? These are the intriguing and often mind-boggling scenarios that arise when we delve into the realm of time travel. But among these mind-bending possibilities, there's one that stands out: the Bootstrap Paradox. Imagine you're a time traveler who decides to teach Beethoven how to play his Fifth Symphony before he even writes it. Now, isn't that a mind-bender? Welcome to the Bootstrap Paradox, a concept that defies our linear understanding of time and causality. So, what exactly is this paradox? At its core, the Bootstrap Paradox is a time travel paradox where an object or piece of information sent back in time becomes trapped within an infinite cause-effect loop. It's named after the idea of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, an impossible action, much like its namesake paradox. Let's break it down with our Beethoven example. You, a future time traveler, have Beethoven's Fifth Symphony in your possession. You go back in time and teach it to Beethoven before he originally composes it. Now, Beethoven learns it from you, writes it down, and it becomes the celebrated masterpiece we know today. Fast forward a few centuries and you find this composition, learn it, and travel back in time to teach Beethoven. The loop continues endlessly. The mind-boggling aspect of this paradox is that the symphony seems to exist without any original creator. You didn't compose it, you learned it from Beethoven's work in the future. But Beethoven didn't compose it either. He learned it from you in the past. So where did the symphony originate? This paradox forces us to rethink our understanding of cause and effect. In our linear experience of time, an effect always follows a cause. But in the Bootstrap Paradox, the cause-effect relationship is cyclical and infinite. The cause becomes the effect, which then becomes the cause again, and so on, ad infinitum. In essence, the Bootstrap Paradox presents a closed loop of events with no discernible beginning or end. It's an information or object's journey through time, looping endlessly, without a clear point of origin. It's a fascinating concept that challenges our perception of time, causality, and the universe itself. In this scenario, who really composed Beethoven's Fifth Symphony? We might never know, and that's the beauty of the Bootstrap Paradox. This is the crux of the Bootstrap Paradox, the question of origin. What we're dealing with here isn't your run-of-the-mill time travel conundrum. The Bootstrap Paradox is a whole other breed of enigma. It's a paradox that revolves around an object or piece of information that exists without any discernible origin. Now hold on to your hats, because this is where things get really mind-bending. Imagine a book, an old, worn-out tome filled with ancient knowledge. You discover this book in a dusty old bookstore, and it changes your life. You become a renowned scholar, an expert in your field because of the knowledge you glean from this book. Years later, you invent a time machine. Motivated by nostalgia, you decide to travel back in time with the book, to gift it to your younger self, to start the journey earlier, and so the cycle continues. You get the book from your future self, you become a scholar, you travel back in time, and you give the book to your younger self. But here's the million-dollar question: where did the book come from in the first place? It didn't just materialize from thin air, or did it? This book has no point of origin. It's an eternal loop, an infinite cycle of cause and effect, and that's the Bootstrap Paradox in a nutshell. This paradox challenges our traditional understanding of causality. Normally, we think in terms of cause and effect. An event happens, which causes another event to occur. But in the Bootstrap Paradox, cause and effect become a loop with no clear starting point. It's a concept that defies our conventional understanding of time and space. Some might find it disconcerting, others might find it exhilarating, but it's undeniably a fascinating concept to ponder. It's like the chicken and the egg situation, but on a cosmic scale. You might not realize it, but you've probably already encountered the Bootstrap Paradox in popular culture. It's as if time travel and paradoxes are the bread and butter of science fiction, right? Let's dive into some of the most well-known instances. Take the movie Interstellar, for example. The future humans create a wormhole and tesseract to help prevent humans survive. But who would have saved the humans in the first place to become advanced enough to create the wormhole? A classic Bootstrap Paradox, isn't it? Or how about the iconic British television series Doctor Who? In the episode Blink, the Doctor is stuck in the past and relies on a transcript of a conversation that hasn't happened yet to escape, which is later provided by his future self. The question here is, who wrote the original transcript? Moving on to literature, the Bootstrap Paradox is a central theme in Robert Heinlein's short story, By His Bootstraps. The protagonist, Bob Wilson, time travels and interacts with his past and future selves, each influencing the other in a loop with no origin. And of course, we can't forget J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry Potter and Hermione Granger time travel to save Sirius Black and Buckbeak. Harry is saved from Dementors by a Patronus, which he initially believes is cast by his deceased father. But it turns out to be Harry himself from the future. But if Harry only knew how to cast the Patronus because he saw himself do it, who cast the first Patronus? These are just a handful of examples. The Bootstrap Paradox has been used in countless other movies, shows, and books, adding a layer of complexity and intrigue to the narrative. It's a concept that has fascinated and perplexed audiences for decades, and it's clear to see why. From Doctor Who to Harry Potter, the Bootstrap Paradox is a popular tool for mind-bending narratives. So what does the Bootstrap Paradox mean for our understanding of the universe and time? Well, the Bootstrap Paradox essentially tosses the concept of linear time out the window. It suggests that time might not be a one-way street, but rather a looping highway with no clear beginning or end. This shatters our conventional understanding of cause and effect, where an event is always preceded by its cause. In a Bootstrap Paradox, the cause and the effect can exist simultaneously, making it nearly impossible to determine which came first. This paradox also has profound implications for our understanding of the universe. If time can loop back on itself, then it's possible that entire galaxies, or even the universe itself, could be caught in a cosmic Bootstrap Paradox. Imagine, for instance, a universe that gives birth to a time traveler who then travels back to the Big Bang and triggers the creation of that same universe. It's a mind-bending concept, but one that could potentially explain the origins of our universe. The implications of the Bootstrap Paradox extend beyond just time and space. It also raises important philosophical questions about free will and determinism. If the future can influence the past, then do we truly have control over our actions? Or are we simply puppets in a predestined timeline, our strings pulled by the future? The Bootstrap Paradox also impacts our understanding of the possibility of time travel. If time travel were to be possible, it would inevitably lead to paradoxes like the Bootstrap Paradox. This raises the question, can time travel ever truly exist in a universe where cause always precedes effect? Or does the existence of such paradoxes mean that time travel is forever confined to the realm of science fiction? In the end, the Bootstrap Paradox leaves us with more questions than answers,